If you've recently graduated or are about to graduate and are spending all of your time looking at which graduate schools to apply to, let me help you out. Put Gwynedd Mercy University at the top of your list. Gwynedd Mercy University was voted, and I quote, a top university that adds the most value and top university for producing graduates who make the world a better place. Discover the Gwynedd Mercy University difference today. gmercyu.edu. That's gmercyu.edu.
All right, this is the Rapaport Stereo Podcast. This is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo, a.k.a. Mr. White Folks, a.k.a. White Mike. Coming live and direct from the Gloom Tomb of Los Angeles, California. Man, this is it's been a crazy last few days. I was just in St. Louis launching the new Snapple flavors, okay? The word was put out right here on the Rapaport Stereo Podcast that I was a Snapple-holic. I love Snapple. So I did a little campaign with them. So they have two new teas. They have a blue tea and they have a red tea. Okay, we had a Snapple bus in downtown St. Louis. I was on the Snapple bus. People were doing taste tests. I was there drinking as much Snapple as I wanted. So they have two new teas, and now the whole thing is take a break from politics, okay? And we're going to talk a lot about politics on this Rapaport Stereo Podcast, but the whole Snapple campaign is we don't want to talk about the her or him and the grabbing the ussies and the emails and the craziness and the craziness. So the thing with the Snapple T-Cision 2016 is take a break from politics, let your taste buds make the decision, and pick the tea you like. You might like them both. There's a new red tea and there's a new blue tea. But now it's the time to make a T-Cision. So what can I say? We're going to be in Las Vegas, October 14th, okay? Then we're going to be in Phoenix, October 16th. We are going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada, all right? Doing the Rapaport Stereo Podcast. The world tour continues. It can't stop, won't stop. If you want tickets, go to www.IamRapaportTour.com. www.IamRapaportTour.com. Fuck, man, what can I say? We're going to get into this episode. We got the official, unofficial political correspondent of the Rapaport Stereo Podcast, Mr. Eli Lake, who actually does fact check. If you don't listen to the Rapaport Stereo Podcast, and this is the first time joining us, this is the only podcast that prides itself on not fact checking anything. We do not fact check at the Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Why should we? Okay, everybody fact checks. Okay, we're a little different here. We let the chips fall where they may. So I'm going to talk to my man Eli. Then I'm going to call G Monetti, G Moody. We're going to talk about the DeNiro thing. I have a DeNiro line of the century that I'm gonna break down. What else? We're gonna do the damn thing. NBA's coming up. We're not talking NBA in this, but it's coming up soon. Fantasy football follies will be back this week. All fantasy football, everything will be coming on Wednesday this week. And this is the Rapaport Stereo Podcast. You're about to listen to some funky, moody beats, and then we're gonna get into this right now. All right, thousands of people seeking home security get ripped off every day. And home security industry wants you to believe that it's your only option. They got hordes of salesmen out there trying to scare you into signing one of them long-term contracts. You get stuck writing a huge check month after month, and there's no way to get out of it. You know what it is? It's robbery by contract, and it could cost you thousands. But there's a better way to protect your home. Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe has no contracts, none. You'll get award-winning 24/7 protection, named the best in the industry. Simply Safe has security professionals watching, ready to instantly send the police. And it's just $14.99 per month, less than half of what most companies charge. I have Simply Safe in my apartment in New York City, and I feel good, I feel safe, and I love the service. Protect your home the smart way. Visit simplysafemike.com. That's simplysafemike.com. Go right now. You'll also get free shipping on your order and a free keychain remote worth $25. It takes only a minute. That's simplysafemike.com.
Yo.
Eli.
Hey.
This is
the Gringo Mandingo.
That's right. It's the Gringo Mandingo, and you are the official, unofficial political correspondent of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. Is it the official, unofficial, or is it the official, unofficial, official? What is the proper
No, it's the official, unofficial.
Okay, it's the official, unofficial. Okay, I had it right the first time. As the debates part 2 have just ended, I want to ask you to you got to break it down because it's so. Just what is your take on it, Eli? What is your take on these debates?
Here's what the Rapapack needs to understand.
Yes.
The election is over. Finito. It's done. Hillary's going to win.
Now, why do you say that so confidently?
Because what we saw starting on Friday evening and through this weekend was the leadership of the Republican Party beginning to completely bail on the nominee of their party, which is unprecedented in American political history. And the only thing that comes close to what we're seeing right now is when leading Republicans began to walk away from Richard Nixon during the Watergate scandal.
Right.
And it's not an exact analogy because he was the president and that was the threat of impeachment and there was calls for him to resign the office. This is the nominee right before an election 30 days out. But you have 16 Republican senators who've just said, I'm no longer with this guy, including John McCain. You have the Speaker of the House canceling an event, calling his remarks indefensible. Even his running mate, Mike Pence, said, I can't defend what he did on this tape.
Right.
Now, you and me might say, why is this worse than 12 other things that you said? Didn't we know this about him already? And I think that's true. But the difference is that it's on tape, and it's so pathetic. And he's talking about going after a woman that he knows is married in a total sleazy, creepazoid way that at a certain point, I just feel it's the straw that breaks the camel's back at that point. How can Republicans, you talk about family values and the sanctity of marriage, defend a guy who is bragging about sexual assault and adultery in such a flagrant, sleazy manner?
Right.
So, I think that there is a strong case that he said that we saw this coming, but this is the thing that did it, and that started this process of all these Republicans walking away from him. He has no organization. Hillary has a huge organization. It's just a question of whether or not Republicans are going to be able to distance themselves enough to keep the Senate, or to keep the House and to maybe keep the Senate. I don't think they'll keep the Senate. I don't know if they'll even keep the House at this point, but that's the question. The question of whether Trump will be president is effectively over.
All right. Now, wait, let me back up for one thing. When you say keep the Senate, keep the House, in layman's terms, because that's something that is explained over and over, but in layman's terms, keep the Senate, keep the House. Who has the Senate? Who has the House right now? And explain that in basic layman's terms.
Okay. Republicans can have majorities in the House and the Senate. And what that means is that they control what gets voted on in our legislature. And that's very important for the budget. I don't want to get too wonky on the constitutional powers because over the last 30 years, the president has become more powerful.
Right.
With George W. Bush and Obama as well. But it's very important. This is Congress, and the Republicans have control of both the House and the Senate. This was already a bad year for them in the Senate because they are defending more seats than Democrats because they only vote every 6 years, so not everybody is up at the same time. But that year is getting harder because the nominee is an unprecedented creep.
Right. And you know,
not just a creep, a liar. Did you see Bobby DeNiro? Did you see the great Robert De Niro thing? That was just a little point, but when was the last time you saw something like that?
I know he's bringing out that visceral sort of quality in people because he's taken it to that level. And it's like, I'm the Gringo Mandingo. I have indiscretions, but I'm not running for president. I'm running for president of all the Gringo Mandingos out there. I'm the president of the Rapapack, but even that's up for debate and up for discussion. You know what I mean? Like the president should be the president. He shouldn't be like everybody else, correct? He shouldn't be like, somebody that like your homeboy. He shouldn't be like somebody in theory you should I wanted to be one of us, but he should be a little bit better than us in terms of the way he presents himself. You know what I'm saying?
All right. First of all, as a scholar of stickmen like yourself, who brought this into the world in a lot of ways, I mean, this is what Trump is talking about.
He's not a stickman.
Behavior. He's not Leonardo DiCaprio.
No.
He doesn't go around putting Tic Tacs in his mouth, grabbing women. I mean, that's not smooth.
No.
That's not cool.
Let me clarify again. A stickman and a savage, and a stickman and an animal, and a stickman and a scumbag are two different things. There is nothing shameful about being a stickman. A stickman is not about numbers. Okay, now obviously great stickmen, Derek Jeter, Leonardo DiCaprio, the greats. We know them all. Burgess Meredith. We know them. Arnold Palmer apparently was a fantastic coxman. You could put up great numbers, but it's more about the quality and the je ne sais quoi. And the reason why, let's just go to DiCaprio real quick and then we'll stay to politics. The reason why we would say right now the great stickman living is DiCaprio's, because you'd be hard-pressed to find any woman and man who has anything bad to say about you. You go, what do you mean, man? He's not sticking men. No, but there's just a certain quality. There's a class. There's a certain smoothness. And smoothness meaning not a slickness. Again, you say, well, it's slick, but I'm saying he's not getting over on you. You know what I mean? That's why Jeter, fantastic coxman. Fantastic. Whatever his methods were, leaving the gifts and the watches. This is all part of the big picture that everybody leaves happy, and you don't feel regrettable. You don't feel regrettable about the experience with the great coxman. So Donald Trump, although he's been. Everybody can say, oh, this one's been with that woman and this one's been with that many women. That doesn't mean you're a great coxman. But back to the politics of it all, Eli.
Yes.
I mean, you're in Washington, you're in this world. Like, just try to give me some insight. Like, as far as it's like almost like I'm speaking to an ESPN reporter. Obviously, about basketball or football or anything like that. What is the climate in the political journalist culture now? Like, obviously you can't speak for everybody and there's so many different people, but just in the world that you're in, what is the climate? What is the sort of overall feeling about this election from your point of view and what you are aware of from the people that you're around and you talk to day-to-day basis?
So I think that the people who are genuinely kind of, I would call them partisans or ideologues, people who care about promoting a certain side of a policy debate. So on the right, true conservatives, people who are kind of traditional Republicans are in misery right now, and they see this as a catastrophic event that it's like one of the worst political meltdowns we've seen. I think that there is, from the perspective of just journalists, you have to separate this, and this is, I'm going to let the listeners in. Journalists look at something like this, and the first thing they think of, man, is, wow, what a great story this is.
Right.
How many eyeballs am I going to get for covering this guy, because we've never seen anything like it. Whereas I think that when you take a step back, you think about it as an American, just patriotic person worried about the country, and you think about, could this guy really be president, and what does it mean that there's a major party nominated him? I think you can sort of separate and say that's not good for the country. But from just a straight-up news story, like I'm covering this story and everybody can't get enough of it. Every newsman in the business worth their salt is rubbing their hands together on that. I mean, it's a gift from heaven.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to distinguish, because I care obviously about the country, but this is my profession, and there's no doubt about it. You cover this guy. He's said things. He's broken so many barriers. There's something about it, and we're as addicted in the press as I think the rest of the country is. They can't stop watching him. Sadly, it's like the entertainment of a train wreck, but it is entertaining.
I agree, and I understand it. And I feel like, I don't know, it's just so frustrating and concerning because, like I said, I think it all comes down to wanting somebody who's just a little bit. They don't have to be like on a pedestal, but they have to be a little bit better than you, a little bit classier than you, a little bit more thoughtful with their words. And this is coming from somebody, me, who talks all kinds of shit and says all kinds of things, and my whole life that, that have gotten me in trouble even before I became the Gringo Mandingo. Now, let me ask you a question.
Can I ask a serious question? Would you grope somebody? I mean,
hell no.
I mean? Like,
hell no.
Right.
No.
That's some scumbag. That's scumbag shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
And would you he's talking about taking her furniture shopping. Like, that's something that you can only do if you have tons of money and you're just doing that and she's married. It's like, I don't know, all that, it's like intersects into what a bad person he is.
Yeah, no, he's a fucking dingbat. And he's just, he's got the thing that's keeping him in the race is, and I hate to say it because I have it and a lot of other New Yorkers have it. He has that New York swag, and that's why he's able to talk that shit up there, and he's doing it so well. And again, that New York shit talk and that New York swag, it's not necessarily should be someone who's a president. Now
Bobby D shut him down, though.
Bobby D shut him down.
He has that swag times like 20 times more than Trump has it.
Of course,
right?
He's fucking Bob D. He invented that.
Of course, right.
He wrote the dictionary on it. Like he's one of the writers of the New York swag, New York shit talking dictionary. Like he brought it to the forefront. Like he's one of the people who literally brought that stuff to the mainstream. That New York thing with his work as an actor. So absolutely.
But you're right on that New York talk, and I know exactly what you mean, and there is something to it. Like he has more of that than anyone else in the race.
Has anybody more than that than anybody I've ever seen in politics. And,
right.
and obviously he's not dumb. He's not an idiot. But I just whatever, man. I think it's just frightening. Now this whole idea about quitting the race. Let's just say he did quit the race. Let's say today he said after the debates, I'm quitting the race. From a political point of view, like in terms of rules and regulations, what would happen then if Donald Trump, just out of curiosity, what would happen if Donald Trump said, I'm quitting? I know he's not going to, but how does it work from a political point of view then? Like or just Hillary run against nobody?
No, it would. The Republicans would try to get it so that you would vote for Pence, his running mate, but I don't know that they can do it because a lot of states have already started voting. I think 12 states have started the early voting process. The ballots pretty much closed. So his name would still be on the ballot, but maybe the Republicans would say, put in Pence. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's over on the presidential side. The question is, can some of these Republicans distance themselves who are running for the Senate, like Marco Rubio in Florida? He's kind of got, his opponent is not that great. There's a lot of issues there. Can he pull that out in this year, or is he going to be tainted by Trump? And, that remains to be seen.
Okay. And what else stuck out to you about the debates and just, this whole last time since I spoke to you in terms of this presidential election? Like, what else are you passionate about and that like is frustrating or exciting about it?
Well, just on the debate, Trump did better than expected. If you just want to break down the debate, what just finished tonight, he landed a couple blows. It really doesn't matter because Hillary did not make a major mistake. So she did fine because she didn't do anything catastrophic. And he did not, he's going to lose. I think there was nothing that he could have done in this debate. But as far as it goes, all right, he didn't break out the loaf,
right,
in the middle of her response and start reading a Penthouse magazine.
Right.
I suppose that will count as something, right? He didn't do something totally grotesque and awful.
No.
So he acknowledged that he hadn't paid taxes for years because of the thing the New York Times wrote. But just in the last week or so since that debate, 2 weeks since that debate, what has he done? He tweets at 3 a.m. He gets in a fight. Remember I mentioned the last time about the Venezuelan Miss Universe woman,
yes,
right? And I think, wow, that was a hell of a hit, right? How's he going to respond? He leans into the punch. He goes
right
on Fox and Friends and is like, yeah, she was overweight. So I think everyone's looking at this who are in the Republican Party and other donors who are deciding where they're going to put their dollars and their resources, politically speaking, in the next 30 days. And they're like, forget it. lost cause. They're starting to pull away from him because he's never going to learn, and he's just a walking disaster. And I think he's going to end up on this. Like, he's going to have very few friends. The only one who defended him Sunday morning on the Sunday talk shows is Rudy Giuliani.
Hey, well, fuck him, too.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yo, Rudy Giuliani, he's an embarrassment to New York. He's an embarrassment to New Yorkers, and he's an embarrassment to New York City. The way he talks, and I don't think he is crazy, and I don't think he is old. That's real shit. He's an embarrassment. I'm embarrassed that he represented our city. I truly am. As a New Yorker, I'm embarrassed, and I guarantee you, most people from New York City, regardless of your Republican, Democrat, they'd be embarrassed that this guy was ever part of politics representing the great city of New York. He's a fucking joke. He's a clown. He's crooked. He's a fucking dog. To quote the great Robert De Niro, he's a mutt. Okay. And he's a fucking embarrassment. Now, let me ask you a question. Assuming Hillary wins, okay, let's say 4 years from now she wins, it's over. Who are the next people in line that are going to go against Hillary Clinton 4 years from now? Who are the next political stars, the next political, young guns? Because the Republicans, obviously, they're in bad shape. They need to come back with somebody. And then who is is there another sort of young, rising, hopeful person that we could get behind? I don't care if they're Republican or Democratic at this point.
Well, if you think the Republican Party will say this Trump thing was a disaster, we have to go in the opposite direction, which, by the way, I'm not saying that's going to happen, then there's a senator from Nebraska named Ben Sasse, who was a Republican, who was the most consistent, never Trump guy, and he will be the beneficiary of that. It could have been Ted Cruz, but in the end, he supported him, and there was an embarrassing photo of him making phone calls for Trump.
Yeah. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have the balls. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have the swag. You do need a certain amount of swag, whether you're Bush, Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Trump, and he just doesn't have it. He's too soft, Cruz. He just doesn't have it.
Sasse, we don't know the swag factor yet. We have to see if he's tested. But I'm saying in terms of just betting right, he's the one who has been he's a senator, he's been consistently, and he's young enough, and he's been consistently against Trump. So that, off the bat, puts him, in my view, on the respectable side. Mm-hmm. If the party goes the way of the Trump alt-right, if it goes the dirtbag way, so to speak, right, then, let's think outside the box, right? Why? I don't know. Why doesn't Sean Hannity run? Right. Why doesn't Roger Ailes run? I'm throwing it out there.
You're going to have fucking Sean Hannity run against Kanye West? Is that what the fuck the president, it's going to become a popularity contest?
In the Trump direction, right, in the Palin, this started in some ways with McCain choosing Sarah Palin. Yes. But if that part of it, of the people who like that kind of shit, then, why not go nominate the dude from Duck Dynasty, right? Just do it. If that's what you want, if you want an entertainer who doesn't know anything about how to run the country, who's just going to signify a bunch of shit that makes you feel, better about your resentment, and then why, you know what I mean? Fuck it. Just Duck Dynasty, dude, whatever. Right. And then you could be a joke party. And then, maybe there'll be a more responsible conservative party, and, we'll see what happens. But this is it's a catastrophe for the Republican Party. But it cannot be understated.
And do you think, is there somebody as far as a young Democrat, besides Kanye West, who I'd imagine be Democrat or be independent, that you could say this guy is someone to look for that you feel hopeful and actually excited about, that people could stand behind, and that has that, that you could get hopeful about?
Well, I think Hillary is going to be something of a centrist. So I think that there will be room for her to have someone who will challenge her as a progressive. Right. And who that person is going to be depends. The assumption is it wouldn't be Bernie Sanders because he's going to be in his 80s. Right. So there's a couple other people sort of out there on the horizon, maybe. But you really have to see how she balances it. But I don't think that a progressive independent challenge, they've never really been able to put that together. Obama was not like McGovern. He was a more centrist candidate in a lot of ways and brought people together. And in the end, I mean, he made an alliance with the Clintons. I mean, he made Hillary his Secretary of State.
Yep.
So if you wanted to have a sort of that kind of critique that would be closer to the Occupy Wall Street, I don't know if that would necessarily work. But I think American politics will change forever because of this.
I agree. Now, on a more serious note, they talked about Aleppo tonight,
Yeah.
and I'm curious about it. Can you explain, just in terms of 1, 2, 3 basic terms, what happened in Aleppo, what's going on in Aleppo, and how it got to this point? Just break it down so I could understand it and that people could understand it who don't understand it. Because again, with politics and world, travesties and all that stuff, I think we're all afraid to ask questions, and we're supposed to assume that we know. And obviously, we know something bad is going on. But can you explain it in I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, basic terms, what's going on over there with this very serious, war and destruction over there?
So this goes back to 2011, and during what was called the Arab Spring, you saw an uprising in Syria, and that started off very hopeful, but Assad had seen what had happened to Hosni Mubarak in Egypt and Muammar Gaddafi and realized that he could not tolerate any dissent. And he responded originally with very brutal suppression that he has escalated over the last 5 years. A year ago, and what this has done is that a lot of other actors in the Middle East have gotten involved in this, what is now a Syrian civil war, including ISIS, Al-Qaeda, other regional states, but also Russia and Iran, which supported Assad. Now, a year ago, or I should say maybe 14 months ago, Assad was in a lot of trouble, and that pressure, the hope was, would force him to negotiate a peace where the war would stop. And eventually he would have to leave power because he was a terrible dictator.
Right.
But what ended up happening was the Russians were able to escalate in the war by bringing their air force into Syria and setting up these air bases. And that gave the Syrians an enormous advantage, along with an influx of militias supplied largely by Iran and their intelligence service. And that has turned the tide of the war. And Aleppo is one of the remaining cities where the rebels have been able to hold it that's not exactly controlled by ISIS or the Islamic State. And the result now is that it's still a city, even though it is now under siege. And what that means is that there's no food or water or medical supplies or electricity or anything like that coming in the city as it's being pounded block by block, where lots of innocent people are there. And it is probably in this. It's a horrible thing that's happening in the middle of a horrible war that's lasted way too long. And the story in a lot of ways is that now that the Russians and the Iranians are there, and the U.S. has chosen not to sort of engage. So people who are opposing Assad, who are also different from the Islamic State, and also probably lots of bad people, but lots of innocent people in this city are going to be wiped out. And it's horrific. We have not seen, in terms of this kind of urban warfare, it's the worst of what Milosevic did to Sarajevo, but it probably goes back to World War II in terms of that level of brutality. And the numbers are staggering. I think it's going to be the big stain on Obama's legacy in terms of foreign policy is the many missteps he made in Syria.
Well, I appreciate that explanation, and it's daunting. All right, I'm going to let you go, Eli.
Yeah, can I just say one thing?
You can say whatever you want, man. You're the man.
Thank you. I would just say all of that said, there are no really easy answers on this, but at the same time, we have to ask ourselves as Americans: do we support the idea that we should have allowed for other countries to sort of get involved and to take the side of this awful dictator in this war? Because what Trump says is that we should work with the Russians against the terrorists.
Right.
And we know that a lot of people who are not terrorists are going to be killed as a result of what the Russians and the Syrians are doing right now.
Right. All right. Well, I appreciate that explanation. This is my last question. For somebody like myself, okay, who I try to stay abreast of things, but I get, like I said, when I talk to, I get so confused when I watch the news. I get so confused sometimes when I take the time to read, like the New York Times or the Huffington Post or the Bloomberg Report and all this stuff. What would you say for somebody who wants to keep up to speed on politics and world events? What's the best way? Or 2 or 3 ways? Like, what is the most simple, most, fair, journalistic, whether it's a show or a magazine, what's the most best way to sort of keep abreast of what's going on in the world? Because, like I said earlier, people want to know what's going on, but I think so many things you get talked over, and and if you're not up to speed on what's going on in Syria, it's like hard to catch up. So, what would you say is the best way to sort of keep yourself educated and in the know of what's going on?
I think, first of all, there's so much information out there. You should find, columnists and writers that you like and then follow what they write, which is always good. But I think a good way to do it is just the front page of the New York Times. Mm-hmm. If you can't read the whole article, read the headline and the first couple graphs of the major stories that they list at the beginning of their morning email to get a sense of the most important stuff. And you could do that with the Washington Post, too. And then I would try, I always think it's good to read different perspectives. So for a conservative viewpoint, read the Wall Street Journal editorial page. And for a more liberal viewpoint, read the New York Times editorial page. And you'll probably get a good sense of the sort of overall spectrum. All right. And if you want to keep tabs on the lunatics who love Donald Trump, read Breitbart, because those idiots, they love him. So you can find, sort of their perspective over there. But if you want to do that, my view is that let's just turn this Trump show off after November 7th and move on with our lives.
I agree. All right, Eli, I appreciate it, my man. I appreciate the insight and the explanations because it's needed. It's needed in very simple terms. You're the unofficial political correspondent of the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We appreciate it. The next time I call, I'm going to have Moody on with you.
Oh, we need Moody.
Yeah, we need to get him on. I'm about to call him and see if he's going to actually retract his endorsement. He made a public endorsement for Donald Trump. I want to see where his head's at. And I'll be talking to you soon, my man. I appreciate the time, Eli.
Thank you so much.
All right, Eli.
All right, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is sponsored by Casper Mattress, an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. Time Magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015. In fact, it's now the most awarded mattress of the decade. Try a Casper mattress for 100 nights risk-free in your home. Okay, 100 nights risk-free in your home. If you don't love it, they will pick it up and refund you everything. Casper is made in America. You get a king-size mattress for $950 at Casper. Buying a Casper mattress is completely risk-free. Casper offers free delivery and free returns, again, with a 100-night home trial. Get $50 towards any mattress purchased by visiting www.casper.com/Rapaport. That's www.casper.com/Rapaport. Casper has sheets, Casper has pillows, and Casper now has dog beds. My dog Wheezy sleeps comfortably all day and all night on a Casper dog bed. Go to www.casper.com/Rapaport. Get a Casper mattress, sheets, pillows, blankets, everything right now.
Play.it is your new podcast network for best-in-class entertainment and storytelling, featuring lifestyle experts and personalities.
Hey, it's Amber Rose.
This is Michael Rapaport.
I'm Stassi Schroeder.
This is Drinks Champ Radio.
Risque with Roxy and Ruby.
Hey, it's Elliot Wilson from Rap Radar.
Welcome to the Cosmo Happy Hour.
Gamer Tag Radio.
Play.it is delivering storytelling at its best.
We're going to sit down with the culture's most important voices.
Relationships, dating.
We are going to go there. Hear what you've been missing at Play.it.
All right, this is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct from the Gloom Tomb, a.k.a. the Ambassador House. I have my man G. Monetti.
Yes.
G. Moody. Last name rhymes with duty. We're doing it big. We're letting you know again. This Friday, October 14th in Las Vegas, Nevada at Vinyl at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. We're going to be marrying 2 members of the Rapapack in Vegas at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, okay? Do you understand? A live show, I'm going to be marrying 2 Rapapack members, okay? And then Sunday, October 16th at Stand Up Live in Phoenix, Arizona. The I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast World Tour continues. Tickets are still available. Go to www.iamrapaporttour.com. That's www.iamrapaporttour.com for fun in the sun in Las Vegas and Phoenix, along with the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. So, Moody, are you pumped to be in Vegas?
Man,
Are you hyped?
I've never been to Vegas, man. I'm hyped up for this. I want to see all the lights, all the glitz, and all that good stuff.
No doubt. So it's been a crazy few days since the last I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. I don't even know where to start. A segment that we used to do, it didn't go away. I just haven't been doing it as much. Is the Robert DeNiro line of the week, and I would perform the line, talk about the influence of the line, sort of dissect some of the lines from De Niro's great performances. But I feel like Robert De Niro has outdone himself, and I give a shout out to somebody on Twitter who gave me this idea. Robert De Niro has done the Robert De Niro line of the century.
Right.
Robert De Niro is so disgusted, along with many, many, many other people, that he just could not hold it in anymore, and he went after Trump. He went after Donald Trump. He called him a mutt. He called him
dog.
He called him a dog. He called him a sexist pig. He said that says he wants to. He called him a con artist. A bullshit artist, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't do his homework, and he doesn't care, and thinks he's gaming in society, and doesn't pay his taxes. And he said he's an idiot. It's one of the best De Niro performances of all time because it was truly Robert De Niro. And many people have had different opinions about this. Like, so many people like, oh, he's just an actor. What does he know about politics? What do you know about politics, asshole?
Yeah.
And what does Trump know about politics? He's had so many opportunities to explain what he knows about politics, yet he never articulates them.
Exactly.
Robert De Niro is a humble guy. He's always been humble. He's always been low key. For Robert De Niro to come out of himself, one of the shyest people that I've ever been around, one of the shyest artists of all time. You can't get 2 words out of him. You think he's doing this for some money? He's fed up. For Robert De Niro to come out and call him a punk and a dog.
And a fucking dog.
And a mutt. And he's a bullshit artist. And De Niro doesn't curse. And doesn't know what he's talking about. If you haven't heard the clip of Robert De Niro, his open fucking just reaming of Donald Trump, please listen to it now.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump. If you care about your future, vote for it.
This is fantastic, De Niro. So that, my friends, is the Robert De Niro line of the week. And I think it's going to be the Robert De Niro line of the century.
Yeah.
And the
Absolutely.
latest in the shenanigans of Donald Trump is a leaked Mike. He was doing an interview on I don't know what the show was. Access Hollywood. And he was with Billy Bush, who's a little fuck boy, little smarmy, little shit stain.
Dick Rodder, man.
Yeah. And Trump on the thing, he said, amongst other things, when you're famous, you could do what you want. When you see a woman, you could just grab them by the pussy. And he said all these other things. And none of these things offend me.
Right.
None of these things offend me as a person. None of these things offend me as a man. None of these things offend me as well. Because I'm going to break it down. All men talk crazy about women. And all women talk crazy about men. Because, a lot of times women will say, oh, well, you think men are gross. Wait till you hear women get together. It's not even about that. Men talk shit, okay, when they're amongst men. I say crazy things. Now, I'll never repeat them on the Iron Rapaport Stereo podcast because you never know. If Donald Trump could get this far running for president, I don't want anything that I might say on the Iron Rapaport Stereo podcast to be used against me. But rest assured, I've said way worse things than you like to grab them by the ussy. And majority of men have said way worse things than I like to grab them by the ussy. But I ain't running for office yet. Okay? I'm not running for president yet. And as far as I know, G. Monetti, are you running for president yet?
Hell no.
So people say, like, well, he's just like everybody else. That's the fucking point. I don't want my presidential candidate to be just like everybody else. I want the presidential candidate to be better than me. I want him to be someone you could look up to. I want him to be someone you could admire. I want somebody who could, stand up and lead this country, not some scumbag, two-bit snake oil salesman cocksucker.
Right.
And I'm so glad that De Niro came out against this guy publicly. And I think more people are going to follow suit now that they see Bobby D doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that took balls for him to come out and say, fuck this guy. He called him a dog.
He called him a mutt. Let's play the tape again in case you haven't heard it.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
It was just he gave him the whole fucking De Niro the whole wash. He gave him the whole Robert De Niro wash. Like if Robert De Niro's going to ever come out against you, you don't want him to give you the whole wash, and he gave him the whole kit.
He's talking about snuffing him. That's that old shit.
Yeah, he said I'd like to punch him in the face. This is Robert De Niro. He doesn't talk like this. You never see him talk this way. Yeah. And Bob knows him. You know that Bob De Niro knows him. Like, they're both New Yorkers. Yeah. They both are in the real estate. They're both... You know Bob knows him. He's like, this guy's a punk. He's a dog. He's a con. He called him a fucking con. Now...
That's it.
Now, Monetti, a couple of weeks ago on the Iron Rapaport Stereo podcast, you came out and publicly endorsed D. Trump.
Yeah.
Now, since this happened, I'm going to ask you again. Do you still endorse D. Trump?
In light of his transgressions, I think this will cost him the election. I had him winning, and
I'm not asking you about your fucking bullshit predictions. I'm asking you about your endorsement.
I was getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
The endorsement has been retracted.
Whoa!
In light of the banter in the bus with that sucker ass Billy Bush.
You're pulling your statement.
Yeah. I have to.
Okay, why do you say this? Because you've been a Donald Trump supporter before many other people. The I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, official political correspondent Eli Lake, he said this on record a few times that you and the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast have been predicting Trump's rise, but you are now offended by what you've heard by D. Trump saying by now.
Yes, I think now that's it. It's everything's out in the open now. I think he's finished, and that was bad to say, but he got caught out there. This is it.
and again, Moody, have you or have you not said things far worse than Trump said in his
We all do, man. This is. That's part of it. I mean, I'm not offended, like you said, but we all do that in a joking manner. Not like you would do some of the things, but just to make each other laugh. So that's part of it. That's a private conversation, and it got out.
It got out, and you fucked yourself. You fucked yourself right out of the election. Although I don't think he was going to win anyway. But he
no, you. But see, a lot of motherfuckers saying that. You can't say that. Just like you said, he wouldn't get this far. There are a huge, vast amount of people that support this dude, man. For him to get here and to be neck and neck with a seasoned politician like Hillary. So it's not Trump. Trump has always been like this. It's the people voting for him. That's the problem, right? That's what you have. Trump is out on the open.
And the people that are voting for him, I'm going to do a special thing. I'm going to go out in their limo out here. After all the things you've heard, after all the double talking, all the admitting he doesn't pay tax, all of this and all of that. The sick fucks of the week are the people that are still behind this fucking guy. You are the sick fucks of the week collectively.
Right.
This is not an arm wrestling contest. At a certain point, you have to go, listen, okay, Hillary's not perfect, and her emails, I don't give a fuck about the emails. I don't care about the emails. There was no ramifications on this country about those emails. Colin Powell, a Republican, he said he did the same thing.
Right.
You could say this, you could say that. Listen, at a certain point, you got to go, who is more equipped for the job? Well, you could say neither. Well, you got to vote for somebody. Okay?
Right.
You could say, well, I don't have to vote for anybody. Okay, well, then that's irresponsible. This dude has no experience. He's a scumbag. He's a con. He's a mutt. He's gaming society. He said he never pays taxes. He says he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch you in the face.
Oh, man.
So the people that are still standing behind Donald Trump, I love that you support and you love the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, but you collectively are the sick fucks of the week. Now, Moody, you have a daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we did is I took a poll, some analytics, so to speak. I asked the people to call in, women, men, fathers, brothers, sisters, to hear what fans of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, how they would react if D. Trump ever tried to grab their ussy or their sister's ussy or their daughter's ussy. So before we listen to that, knowing that you have a beautiful daughter, how would you react if this fucking scumbag ever tried to put his hands on your daughter when she was grown? How would you react?
Oh, man. It would be hell up in Harlem for him, man. It would be a thrashing. Anybody, touches my daughter inappropriately and she tells me and I'm there, then we just handle it right there. There's no talking.
All right. Well, these listeners of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast chimed in on it. We have men and women from across the globe, and here's what they had to say. This is true blue, authentic comments from fans and listeners of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast.
I wish that mofo would try to put his hands on me. I guarantee you, that orange Cheeto wouldn't touch nobody else again, and I'll snatch that whack-ass weave off his head. He need to take his ass to the hood and get a proper weave, because that shit is just garbage. And that damn orange-ass tan, Lord help him. He's the Republicans' problem. He gonna crash and burn their party. They can take all they racist ass over there to Australia where they belong. Send their ass in the middle of nowhere.
Listen here, you dumb motherfucker, you fucking scum, bum, cunt, fuck. You touch my daughter and my foot's got a one-way ticket up your asshole, you no good sodomistic fucking tit-grabbing, ass-eating, finger-fucking, cock-dick fuck. You no good bowl of ravioli, pancake-face, fucking chicken-headed chode bowl bitch. Eat a dick, you fucking rapist, gay bitch, fuck.
Hi, this is Andy Cohen. If Donald Trump tried to grab my ussy, or the ussy of one of my ladies, what would I do? I would put a smock on so I wouldn't get any of his orange matter on me, and then I would kick the shit out of him, and it would be so easy because he's so fat, and he's so scared of his hair getting messed up. Beating him up would be the easiest thing, and his hands are so little. And that's what I would do if Donald Trump tried to grope my ussy, or my lady's ussy.
This is Indiana Mets fan, a.k.a. Mr. Womp Womp. Old Slick Donnie tried to pull some fly shit like that. Boy, in the Midwest, we don't play. Tie him up by those tacky made-in-China ties of his. We got plenty of land to bury him. Fuck that dude.
If that orange-skinned, muppet-head motherfucker tried grabbing my wife, daughter, or sister by the pussy, I'd snatch that fucking wig off his head and shove it so far up his fucking ass that he'd never be able to fucking shit again, and all that would happen is he'd fucking explode. There'd be just fucking orange skin, muppet hair, and shit fucking everywhere.
I'm usually a pacifist, but if Trump tried to pull that shit with me, I would round up my best girlfriends, and we would take care of him like Jimmy, Tommy, and Henry did in that bar scene in Goodfellas, and we would have the added advantage of stiletto heels.
First off, I would grab his ussy because he ain't got no balls. I would grab, squeeze, twist, and yank it right out. Definitely have to cut off the golden balls of that man and serve him up on a nice silver platter. He would be eating his own jizz and probably getting a lot more than he bargained for on the other end, too. I think he'd have a mangina after that.
If you ever tried to come up and grope my girlfriend or my mom or my sisters, I'd fucking end you. I'd fucking end your shit. It ain't even an option of what would happen. You'd be done. As simple as that. You'd be fucking done.
Yeah, this is Danny Aiello. Let me tell you something. If that cocksucker grabbed my daughter by her fucking pussy, I'd bust his fucking head open. Louie, give me the bat. I'd crack his fucking skull with this fucking baseball bat. You punk motherfucker, you. You got Bobby all upset, you fucking fruity cocksucker. I'll grab your fucking pussy, you cocksucker. I'll finger fuck you until you like it, you pussy motherfucker, you. That's it from the people. That's what the people had to say. Okay? The people are disgusted by you, D. Trump. And they could say, well, Clinton, he did this, he did that, and JFK, he was freaking off, but it was never caught on tape, you fuck you. Because D. Trump, he could talk like that back in the days because he never thought he'd become a politician. To him, this is like a joke. It's like, it was like a joke that's gone too far. You know how like Roseanne ran for president and then like, like she knew she wasn't gonna get elected. You know, Howard Stern ran for mayor or governor or something. He knew he wasn't going to get elected. This shit with D. Trump is the same thing, except for it's gone too far. That's why his past, and there's more stuff that's going to come up. He's in a softcore Playboy video talking to women. This is the president of the United States. Again, right. You can say, well, what about you, Mike Rapp? I'm not running for fucking president. I'm not even running for president of the Podcasting Society.
Right.
All right,
Hey, man.
this guy's he's a dog, he's a mutt, he's a con, and he's everything else that Bobby D said he was.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about DraftKings. All right, let's be honest. Your season-long team probably stinks. You might have drafted a certain running back out of Minnesota whose first name starts with an A and whose last name starts with a P, right, as your first pick. It's a tough break. Or maybe you drafted a certain tight end out of New England, okay, who in your first round, who hasn't played, made one catch in the first 4 weeks. It's a tough break, okay? It's tough. It's hard to swallow, okay? But it's not too late to save the season and win huge cash prizes and have a good time with fantasy football at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com is the destination for 1 week fantasy football. That means no season-long commitments. Okay? Every week is a brand new season at Draft Weeks. DraftKings has even set up a league just for the listeners of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. Come dance with me. Come dance with the dingo. I take on all comers. If you want to dance with the dingo, we have set up our own team. Step into the monkey cage with me at DraftKings.com now. Use my promo code Rapaport and play for free with your first deposit. The code is Rapaport to play for free this weekend only at DraftKings.com. Eligibility and restrictions may apply. See DraftKings.com for details. And please come on. We did a 20-man, $20, 20 heartbreaks tournament. There's winners, there's losers, but the beauty is you get to live another day and dance another dance. Moody.
What up?
Yeah, what else is going on, man? What's really good? Have you seen this show on Netflix called Luke Cage?
I saw it yesterday, man. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm not a comic book guy, and I'm not a Marvel guy. I don't like those movies.
Me neither.
But there's a show that's based on a comic book called Luke Cage. It takes place in Harlem. I love the way they shoot Harlem. And Luke Cage is the superhero character. It's really well acted, really well written, really well directed. And homeboy, Luke Cage, the superhero, he's not like, disappearing or walking through walls. Like, he's got superpowers, but not like the ill, like unbelievable shit. So the fact that they're doing it in Harlem, and the language is good, and they really sort of shoot Harlem in a noir-ish way. Like, I say ish because Harlem is a village. If you've never been there, it's a village unto itself. And it's got its own style, its own sort of architecture. Obviously, it's got its own flavor. And one of my favorite things about the show is that Harlem is a character in the show. Right. So again, I'm not a big cartoon guy. I'm not a comic book guy, and I'm certainly not a big Marvel guy. I'm not with all this Superman versus Batman and Batman versus Aquaman. But I heard about the show. I started watching it about a quarter way through. I'm gonna go slow with it. I'm not one of these people who wants to binge watch and just be done. So I'm really digging it. I highly recommend it, even if you're not a Marvel dude. Ali Shaheed Muhammad and Adrian Young did a lot of the score. The music's dope. One of the episodes had Raphael Sadiq performing it. Very, very, very well acted. Very, very well directed, and just really well written. And it's a good show. So that's my recommendation to check out Luke Cage on Netflix.
Yes.
What else you got, Monetti?
What's up with I see your boy Odell going crazy during this past week, man. Again, with fighting with the defensive backs and stuff. I don't know what's going on with this cat, man. I don't know, man. I think they might have to bench this dude, yo.
Yo, I got to be honest, man. Listen, me and Moody are Jets fans. And it was great when Odell was kicking ass. But I feel like the fact that he's not kicking ass now is the reason why he's upset. I think he's veiling it in, I love the game, and I'm just so competitive. I don't think that's what it is. I think the fact that the game is coming a lot harder because guys are focusing on him. The Giants aren't playing good. He's made some mistakes. He's made some drop balls. No pun intended. And like I said before on another podcast, these defensive backs, they have face masks, they have visors. They're saying all kind of shit. And there's all these rumors and speculation. Listen, Odell, I don't care what you is. I don't care what anybody is. Anybody's sexuality, I don't care. I could give two shits. But I feel like, they're talking about, he might be gay, he might be this. And some of that I feel like he's brought on himself with the videos and the videos of, him being in the hot tub and other men popping up out of the hot tub. And these dudes are like, and now they see you're easily rattled.
Right.
So these dudes are saying all kinds of, this is football. This isn't basketball. This isn't baseball. Your mouth can't get red. So you could say whatever you want. The referees can't hear everything. It's a huge 100-yard field. So from what I'm hearing is dudes are saying all kinds of, slander and homophobic this and homophobic that and you this and you that. And I don't know what Odell Beckham is. It's none of my business. I don't care. But I don't know how this is going to go away, because if you're affected by dudes talking shit no matter what they're saying, you know what's going to happen the next week? They're going to continue to talk shit.
It's going to get worse.
It's just going to get worse. They're just going to keep going at you. They're going to do whatever they need to do, because at the end of the game, it's not personal. They're trying to get you out of the game. But if they could get you out of the game by making it personal.
I say, I know how it could stop. Let's say, hypothetically, assume that he is gay. Just come out. Just come out so they don't use that as a weapon, or get LGBT involved in this shit.
Right.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, LGBT, they need to step in and be like, listen, try to deal with that shit. The LGBT, they're always like fighting the fight. Try to stop the defensive backs and safeties in the NFL for talking greasy to Odell Beckham. You got a real fight on your hand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see Odell do good. I want to see the Giants do good. Not just for the Giants, but for my fantasy team. And just because I'm a fan, man, he was so good. But, I don't know how this season's going to play itself out. And I feel like he'll be so much happier. The thing that frustrates me and bothers me about Odell is I feel like it's just about him right now. I feel like it's not about the team. It's about him not doing good, and because the team isn't doing. Because watch, as soon as he starts making some plays, whether the Giants win or lose, he'll be back to normal. Another thing in sports, the Cleveland Indians are playing the Red Sox, and I'm in a conundrum here because I can't stand the Red Sox. I don't give two shits about baseball, although I will play you in fantasy baseball. I'll crack that ass. I don't think I've lost at fantasy baseball yet. That just goes to show how serious I am about this fantasy and this DraftKings life. But the point is that the Red Sox, obviously, I can't stand. But the Cleveland Indians, now I can't stand. You'd say, oh, why, Mike Rapp? You don't even care about baseball. Didn't you ever like the movie Major League? Yeah, I love Major League. I thought it was fantastic. Very funny. Wesley Snipes, Charlie Sheen, and so on and so on. But the flag hopper, the head cheerleader for the Cleveland Indians is now LeBron James. Mr. Cleveland. Yeah? Mr. Cleveland's at all the games, and he brings the whole team, and they're there in the stands, and they're having a barbecue, and they're having a good old time and all that. So Boston Red Sox, if you want me to cheer for you in this series, I am willing to stand up. I'll get a Boston Red Sox hat, and I'll even get some actually Red Sox if you guys could take down the fucking Cleveland Indians. Okay? Because I can't stand this guy. This guy, LeBron, he said in the past, the Yankees have always been his favorite team, and now all of a sudden, because you're Mr. Cleveland, you're an Indians fan? There's so many pictures of you at Yankee games with Yankee hats on and going out of your way to say you're a Yankee fan. And now all of a sudden you're Mr. Cleveland Indian? No. Fuck that shit. So I'm down to stand up with Jim Rice, Carl Yastrzemski, Larry Bird, and everybody else and cheer for the Boston Red Sox if you guys could get your shit together and make this series competitive. But if you're going to get swept, I'm not going to waste my time and my breath because it takes too much out of me. Okay? It truly does. Like when I root for a team, when I root for a fantasy team, when I root for my Knicks, when I root for the Golden State Warriors, I root from the bottom of my heart and my soul, and it wrecks me when they lose. Okay? So if you could get your shit together, you'll have a temporary fan to take down LeBron and his Cleveland Indians. There it is. There's my offer.
Play.it is your new podcast network for best-in-class entertainment and storytelling, featuring lifestyle experts and personalities.
Hey, it's Amber Rose.
This is Michael Rapaport.
I'm Stassi Schroeder.
This is Drinks Champ Radio.
Risque with Roxy and Ruby.
Hey, it's Elliot Wilson from Rap Radar.
Welcome to the Cosmo Happy Hour.
Gamer Tag Radio.
Play.it is delivering storytelling at its best.
We're going to sit down with the culture's most important voices.
Relationships, dating.
We are going to go there. Hear what you've been missing at Play.it.
All right, what can I say? This was a fantastic episode of the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Again, we're going to be in Vegas Friday, October 14th. And then we're going to be in Phoenix Sunday, October 16th. Tickets are available. Go to www.IamRapaportTour.com. I appreciate Eli Lake taking the time to break things down. It's the Gringo Man Dingo. Fantasy Follies are going to be coming this week. All fantasy everything. I'm talking about the wins, the losses, the hits, the shits, and everything else. The I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, and I'm out.